Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Offsides post-game wrap-up on the Super Bowl between Seattle Seahawks and Broncos. We have Randy over here, sad Randy, and then we have excited Rolf over on my right and myself, non-shaving Mike. And so we're going to start talking about what was successful for the Seahawks, and pretty much there's a lot to talk about when we talk about what was successful for them. But the first thing we brought up before the Super Bowl was their defense and how dominating they are and how dominating they needed to be, Rolf. That was something you brought up on. In order to win this game, they got to play their defense.
Yeah, they did. They played their physical style. They're faster than anybody I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous how fast they are. They play what we call the speed zone.
The speed zone. I think it's a speed zone defense. We're naming it now. Yeah.
They dropped into their zones, but anytime somebody caught the ball, there were 3 Seattle Seahawks on top of the guy.
On top, yeah.
And popping the crap out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, it was...
Yeah, solid hitting.
I would come back.
Is that the technical term?
Yeah.
Popping the crap
I think that's
out?
what they said. I think that's what they said in the.
Yeah, that's what Joe Buck and Troy Aikman said.
They're just beating them up. Like, yeah.
I would have gone back to the offensive and said, I don't want to run that route anymore.
You're right. The rest of us like, just scratch that play. No, forget it. Let's throw some screens.
And they didn't let us zone underneath like I thought they would to take out those rub plays so they wouldn't have blown coverages on them.
Right. Well, and what I noticed too is the Broncos, and based upon the defense, they didn't run any crossing routes. I mean, we saw a lot of the pick routes.
Well, that's what
the other crossing routes.
That's what Demarius Thomas got blown up on. Was the crossing route.
Yeah. He got that one. Yeah, by Chancellor, I think, right? And,
by Chancellor.
And after that, you didn't see it anymore. No. You didn't see one more crossing route whatsoever. And although it proved beneficial for the Broncos throughout the year, 0, pretty much a couple catches on it, and that's it. That's all she wrote.
I watched. I mean, they ran him a few times, but Seattle's zone was like on him. Like he couldn't.
There was no.
He wasn't going to throw it there because there was somebody there.
Yeah.
And they didn't throw to Sherman's side very much.
No, and it was great what Sherman did. He was able to pretty much make Decker look like he was a high school football wide receiver. I mean,
he's mediocre like Crabtree.
Yeah, I mean, he made him look worse than Crabtree. I mean, Crabtree played better than Decker. I mean, and at least Crabtree put up a fight. I mean, I felt like Decker wasn't even remotely in the game, but again, played to the skill of the level of their defense. And absolutely, if you're not going to be physical with that defense, you might as well pack your bags.
And I said Manning was smarter than that to throw to Sherman's, to keep trying to throw to Sherman's side. He was going to take a shot with Demarius Thomas on the opposite side, which was the way to go.
Yep. And then, obviously, on their offensive side, Seattle's not known for a high-powered offense by any stretch of the imagination. However, they do one thing that's critical, especially when they're Super Bowl. They don't make mistakes.
They don't turn it over. They don't make mistakes. Russell Wilson did a great job on third downs of keeping the chains going and keeping Manning off the field. I mean, they had the ball for a long time this season in the first half.
It did. And when you have the first quarter and you have, again, the number one offense, and you have 11 total yards in the first quarter, and you're the number one offense, I mean, alarms are ringing. I mean, it was still a game. It was still a game. It's only 8-0.
I know. And come on, guys.
And you're looking at the Broncos like they were down 63-0 already, and you're like, it's 8 points. It's a touchdown. You guys got Peyton Manning still. Like, did you guys miss a meeting? I mean, they looked defeated already, which was amazing.
But the Seahawks didn't change anything from what they were doing all season long.
They did not. You said they did the zone.
A little more zone than I was used to seeing, but.
Yep.
Otherwise, I was like, they just need to keep doing what they're doing, and that's what they did.
Yep.
And they just do what they do better than anybody else does.
Right.
I mean, Manning had 2 weeks to study what they do.
Yeah.
And he couldn't figure out a weakness.
No, and it seemed to me that the crowd noise in the stands, Seattle bought some tickets to this game because the first play is safety.
Was too loud.
And Ramirez is like, did he say hike? He must have, and threw the ball past him. When May's coming back to the line saying, "Oh no, that guy's blitzing," and then there goes the ball. So definitely the crowd had something to do with it. The 12th man, hey, I agree. 12th man, that's them. Then it was great. It was absolutely amazing. Now, talking about, you brought up very quickly about the running game of the Broncos, and the running game of the Broncos. They gave up on it, Randy. What happened? We have 2 running backs, right? We just hyped ball into the end zone. Probably need to hand it off a couple times to kind of keep them honest. Nothing at all.
Well, can't we just talk about what Denver did right? This show would only take 15 seconds.
It's true.
Even do the one drive where we scored a touchdown and we could be done.
Right.
We wouldn't have to relive this. But no, they gave up on the running game because I think Peyton Manning wanted to throw against this defense. He really did. He wanted to throw against them, but what it comes down to is that is the fastest defense I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a defense that fast. And against every other team in the NFL, you could throw the ball. If it was 3rd and 6, you could throw the ball 3 yards, and our wide receivers could get the other 3.
Sure.
Easy. Yeah. Well, they can. With the Seattle defense, you can't do that. They are on top of you as soon as you touch the thing.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't miss tackles.
Right.
They wrap up. They are aggressive. And it's like once one guy gets there, the rest of them are
there.
They're coming too. Yeah. I mean, it's like once they see where the ball is going, everybody goes, I want to go right to where the ball is, and they want the hit.
Yeah.
So we were throwing a lot of that same stuff we do all year long, but we had not done it against a defense that fast. And I might say this.
Yeah.
This might be the best defense I've ever seen. Better than the 85 Bears, better than that Ravens defense, better than that Tampa Bay defense. Because we are living in an era right now in football where they have taken all of the advantages away from the defense. They have taken everything away from them, and this defense still dominated the number 1 offense in the NFL. We're not talking about a bad weather game. We're not talking about wind or anything like that. These were 2 teams that were playing in pretty decent weather.
Great weather.
Defense dominated the number 1 offense in an era where the defenses aren't allowed to do anything. They are not allowed to touch the receivers. They're not allowed to touch the quarterback. Nothing. And they dominated.
Yeah.
That defense to me could play in any era and destroy.
And they punish receivers, but they do it legally. They don't hit dirty, and they don't get flagged for illegal hits. It's impressive that
it is.
Pete Carroll, he said on Tuesdays they talk about tackling. It's Tackle Tuesdays, and they coach how to tackle correctly every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday. Nice.
Yeah. So it pays off. I think every team should do that, because look at the way they tackle, and look at the way the Packers tackle. Oh my God.
Well, the Packers, I think, would need tackle Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to catch back up.
Well, let's start with Tuesday.
Well, you bring up an interesting point, because we're talking about a basic of the game, and it's a fundamental that obviously you should understand if you've played in Little League football all the way up to you're in the pros, is how to tackle. But it's something that is taken for granted, and it's something that it's like, oh yeah, it's you just go out there, make sure you put a good tackle on them, and just wrap up. Yeah. But it's another thing to actually do it every single week and say, this is how you tackle. This is how you tackle. And there's no broken tackles happening against that defense.
There's so much with most of the other teams. There's so much focus on play calling and schemes to get people in the right places that just assume that the tackle is going to be made.
Right.
It's just not.
But also look at the mentality of most of these teams nowadays. Remember, for a while we didn't have these hit penalties or anything like that, and everybody just wanted to come up and make the big hit. And you would see it. All they would do is put his shoulder down, try to blow up the receiver or the running back, and just knock them backwards. They didn't try to wrap them up.
Yeah.
Every time Seattle's out there, they're not looking to blow you up. They're looking to wrap you up and hit you as hard as they can while they're putting their arms around you.
Yeah.
And everybody else, when you see, and I watch the Broncos team, they're guilty of this too. I'll watch some of their players where they'll just come up, put a shoulder into somebody, and then hope that they fall over.
Yeah.
You saw, who was it, Curse, that spun twice?
Yeah.
Nobody wrapped him up.
No one wrapped him up.
But it's like if Curse would have done that against the Seattle defense, if the roles would have been reversed, he would have been down that first time he was hit.
First time he was hit, exactly right.
So, to me, tackling has kind of went away. The coaches don't teach it anymore. They don't teach tackling.
Like it,
except for in Seattle.
Except Pete Carroll.
It
kind of works out.
And I think now you're going to have a lot of copycat people. They're going to go, hey, wow, tackling the guy when he gets the ball.
That's an idea.
The first guy gets there and tackles him, write that down.
That's an idea.
That might work.
That's a good idea.
we might not get burned for 30 yards on a play that we should have stopped after 5.
I'm going to post a link to that on the Packers Facebook page.
Just, if you need to check something out, check this out. Yeah.
Check out Tackle Tuesdays at Seattle's practice sessions.
Now, and now we have to talk about, obviously, you're led by the quarterback that brings you onto the field, whether it's any quarterback out there. Montana back in the day, Steve Young, Russell Wilson, Terry Bradshaw. You're led by your quarterback. You really are. Right? He's the
Trent Dilfer.
And I was going to bring up Trent Dilfer. It doesn't matter. Rich Gannon, right? I mean, you're led by your quarterback. No matter what, that's one of your leaders. Peyton Manning in this game, he looked scared. Randy, what? He didn't look like Peyton Manning. It didn't look like. I saw the previews of what they did, the simulation of Madden, right? And in the Madden video game, Peyton Manning is like, "I'm ready to go. Let's do this, yeah!" And we get a Peyton Manning here, and obviously the picture that's going around the web everywhere is a ball flying past his head, and he's like, "Which way did it go?" And so, but after that, it looked like to me a nervous Peyton Manning. What's your take on Peyton Manning?
It looks like he was channeling Eli. Eli doesn't like to talk or say a word. Peyton, all of a sudden, every time I saw Peyton Manning, he was sitting on the bench by himself like this. Yeah. Right, that big red spot right on his forehead. Sure. He hadn't even had his helmet on that much at that point. He still had that. He was just sitting there.
Just sitting there.
Every once in a while on the phone.
Yeah.
Who was he talking to? Because he wasn't, he should have been with his teammates. He should have been saying, look, we're not out of this. We can still come back. We're the best offense, and let's put something together and try to. But he wasn't with any of his teammates. The only time I saw him talk to a teammate is when Ramirez hiked the ball over his head. He went over to him, probably said, Let's not do that again. Yeah. And he didn't. I mean, there you go, Peyton. You managed to accomplish that. He didn't hike it over your head again.
Right.
Maybe you should have told him, let's get more touchdowns.
Yeah.
And maybe they would have done that too. Maybe they would have followed you. But
a pep talk or something.
But I thought of him more, that he would come up bigger, to his teammates. He is the veteran. He's the guy that's been to the Super Bowls. He's the MVP. He's all this other. And he didn't. He did not try to inspire. He just kind of sat there. Maybe because he's always in the lead or whatever most of the season, you never really see him have to rah-rah anybody. But there was nobody rah-rahing anybody on that sideline. Everybody looked like they were slumped shoulders and, we're losing again.
Yeah, and it really did. Like, they were all, hunkered down. I mean, even when you watched it and you saw him on the bench and you're like, you're only down by 8 points. This is nothing when you are an offense that averages 35 points a game. This is a piston in the wind. You should be able to do this at a moment's notice, and it looked like they were defeated.
And even at half, it was only 3 scores.
3 scores?
And I'm like, for them, that can happen in a flash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not enough, because I'm like, as much as it seemed like Seattle dominated, and they dominated that first half, but they didn't come out with a whole lot of points. It seemed like to me there's a couple of field goals when they should have had shots at the end zone. But I was like, this is still a game.
Yeah.
But it ended up not being a game.
I mean, like I said, it just looked like the safety took all the wind out of the Broncos' sails. Like, it really, really did. Like, it was over. And which is weird to me, because I understand.
I don't know if it was the safety so much. I think it was some of the hits.
I still have a problem with Trendon Holiday standing 9 yards deep on the opening kickoff and deciding he's going to run it out against one of the fastest teams in the NFL. Where did he think he was going? 9 yards deep in the end zone against that team's speed, and he thinks he's going to the house?
Yeah.
No, it's like, he got to the 12 or 13-yard line, so right there you're kind of looking at your stupid idiot kick returner and going, why? We down it and we get it at the 20.
Yeah.
You don't remember the rest of the game. I think he let it go over his head out of the end zone. It's thankfully.
Hit the crossbar.
Until Hauschka said, I'm going to kick it to him because he'll run it out.
Yeah.
And he won't go very far.
So, I mean, the Broncos, they held up pretty good as much as they could in the beginning. Like you were talking about, 22-0. I mean, not bad when you really have no offense. When you have the bet was the best offense throughout the season. And they held them up pretty good. Couple field goals.
The Seattle offense didn't do anything in that first half. Really
they really didn't.
They didn't score the touchdowns until the second half, I believe.
No, I mean they got the one touchdown because Carter or whatever kind of pass interference and gave him 1st and goal at the 1.
Yeah.
But they had stopped Marshawn Lynch. Yeah. I mean, they were every time Marshawn Lynch got the ball, he was losing yardage.
Yeah, I was impressed with their run defense.
But it's like I think losing Harris and Champ Bailey being Champ Bailey got burned by Baldwin.
By Baldwin.
Baldwin is not a fast receiver, and he was burned by him.
Well, I didn't understand that play either. I mean, a couple of times, but the one I saw where he absolutely is like, you're man-on-man coverage, right? And that's what they were set up to do. It was Champ and Baldwin, and Baldwin comes out, and Champ's still looking in the backfield, and it's like, what are you doing? Your guy's back behind you.
Yeah.
Get on your horse and get moving.
He's used to playing safety or something.
Again, like I'm saying, it was like the Broncos were looking at the ground like, oh, a flower.
It's like, the problem is when you tell Champ Bailey to get on his horse is old and probably needs to be taken out to pasture and shot. It's only got 3 legs. His horse wasn't going to catch that horse.
It's missing some horse
His horse
shoes.
is a tauntaun.
Yeah. He's only got 2 little, 2 little things and 2 feet. He hops.
And I'm a movie nut, and what I was able to relate this game to when it came to a movie for me was Rocky 3. When Rocky Balboa first fights Clubber Lang Mr. T, Rocky Balboa is scared. He's nervous, and Clubber Lang Mr. T takes everything he has and says, give me more and I'm going to give it to you. And he sticks to him and goes after him. And even his trainer in the movie was like, you know what, you don't have what it takes anymore. You lost the eye of the tiger. You're passive. And that's what this looked like to me is, we were like, we're the number 1 offense, here we go, 35 points average, here we go. And we go out there, and you have this defense that's absolutely like, bring it! And then they just came right after you, and all of a sudden, you lost it. You lost that eye of the tiger, and what they had, they were hungry. That will to win on the Seattle sideline, they wanted it. Every single one. It didn't even matter. They even, players that didn't even play in the Super Bowl. They were on the bench or whatever, or even that guy that returned it, right? The backup linebacker returned it all the way for a touchdown. Everyone was like, I am ready. Whatever needs to happen, I'm ready for this game. And you look at the sidelines of the Broncos, nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's why I was thinking about movies, I was thinking about, where have I seen this before? Of like, someone that's like confident, well, I should win this thing. Everyone thinks I'm going to win this thing. A lot of people pick the Broncos offensively. They're like, they're like, dude, you can't match the Broncos X, Y, and Z.
But what happens is you have there's the same kind of thing with the Packers where you have that great quarterback kind of masking some of those deficiencies that you have on defense.
I would agree with you. Most definitely.
I mean,
most definitely.
They look great on paper, but then
but if you're able to shut down that one greatness, your quarterback, that puts you in a problem scenario. And that's where I put the Broncos at.
If I'm going to make this into a movie reference, I'd say probably the Temple of Doom. Because it's like, they just reached in, ripped our hearts out. I think they should rename MetLife Stadium the Temple of Doom. Because it's like, ripped out the entire team's heart. That's what I think. It reminds me of Temple of Doom.
And really what I saw from the 2 teams, I saw Denver as a good team with a great quarterback, and Seattle is a great team with a good quarterback, and that great team just comes out on top.
It does. It does.
When you're playing just a good team.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. I mean, when you have all your players playing lights out, that usually will take you further, and it did. I mean, Seattle, the whole time. I mean, again, like you said on the sidelines, the Broncos had no one prepping them, talking, not even John Fox. That was
a poor coaching job, I gotta say.
It was, and that's why I really give a lot of credit to is the coaching staff of Seattle versus the coaching staff of the Broncos. The Broncos don't look like they prepared for anything.
No.
They look like they showed up, got off the plane in New York, and were like, let's take in the sights.
Well, it looked like they just thought they were going to win. I mean,
they
thought they were going to win.
They thought they were going to win. I mean, it looked like they didn't prepare for any of it, and it was the coaching job by both sides. You saw a clear difference,
which is unbelievable because Peyton is meticulous with preparing.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe Peyton did prepare meticulously, but the rest of his team was just kind of like, let's just see the sights. I want to go see Ground Zero.
Right. Right. And that's what it looked like, though. It seriously looked that way, where it was just like
it's like Ground Zero was in MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, this is Ground Zero. I mean, and that's what it looked like. It really looked that way to where The preparation wasn't there. They didn't focus on anything. They didn't focus on ball control. We lost the ball a number of times, interceptions, fumbles. If Holiday's barely his elbow doesn't touch the ground, it's another fumble on the kickoff return.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have all this, and they just weren't prepared. And if I'm the coaches of the Broncos, you have to take responsibility of this. You have to understand that when that sideline is broken and your championship quarterback's on the bench and is hanging his head down and it's only 8-0, that's when you go over there. That's when you're like, hey, wake up! It's time to play.
It's one score.
It's one score. Manny, get up. That's what you're paid to do.
I heard about a good Italian place I want to eat after the game. So it's like if I figure if they're just out there running the ball, running time off the clock, we could go get some Italian food.
I mean,
I want some spaghetti.
It was just awful. It was just awful as far as a coach.
I'll make it into a little Super Bowl ring. I'll wrap it around my finger.
It was actually one of the worst Super Bowls that I've seen. I mean, it was great. The outcome was great for me, but I was expecting one of the best Super Bowls of all time. Yeah. This is the matchup I was looking forward to all year, and then it was just...
Nothing.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah,
I mean, great season for both of these teams, and the game did not
live up to it at all.
It was.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you know. It's like you just. Yeah. It was a blowout. Seattle totally outmatched them in every facet of it: coaching, offense, defense, special teams, everything. Every part of it. Seattle was the best team in the NFL,
and they deserve it. Hats off to that team.
And I'm not so sure that it's like. Denver needs to maybe reevaluate some of their talent that they have, and
right.
And there's going to be a lot of that, I'm sure.
Yeah. But think about this: that Seattle defense is young. How long can they keep it together before everybody starts wanting max contracts?
Yeah.
Some
of those contracts will be up in a couple of years now.
Yeah. And it's like I think they've got to get him in and get him in now.
Yep.
Well, they're going to pay Russell Wilson whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But you've got to remember Sherman's young, and they've got a lot of young, really talented players, and they're going to start wanting their money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and they earned it.
But
they earned it.
This you can't take this away from them. They were the best team in the NFL this year. They took it. They did a great job.
Hands down. Hands down.
Congratulations.
And Russell Wilson is better than Andrew Luck next year. I won't say.
Awesome.
I got him to say it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us all year for Offsides, our first season doing this. We're going to see you back right before the draft and talk about some of the draft kind of picks as we get ready.
And some fun topics.
2014. And maybe Tiger Woods will bring up some more topics. For Randy, myself, and Rolf, thank you so much for joining us. This is Offsides. We're out. We'll see you in 2014 next year. See ya.